All right, thank you so much. There, the program this morning on ITV is still on here. We talked about the need for us as a country to stay together and remain as one nation. And that's what probably has informed the decision by the National Assembly to make sure that we have a public hearing on how to amend our constitution. Well, we're told that between on the 3rd and on the 4th of this month of June, that's about some few days ago, various zones across the country witnessed the public hearing on the amendments of the National Assembly. One thing stands clear, that there is a need for us to have a referendum so that we can actually, have various contributions into the inputs for something, for, a document that will turn out to be a constitution. Some say that it is actually expected that at the end of it all, we should have a new constitution, while some say that it is expected that at the end of it all, we're going to have amendments into various segments of the 1999 constitution that we are using, as amended, that we are using today. Well, still on that, yesterday we understand that there was a security summit in Abuja whereby the president met with the new chief of staff. The president met with the Major General, the Chief of Army Staff, Major General Farouk Yahaya, and also some other some other defense staff there. Also talking about security in the country. Well, it's all connected in one way or the other. You talk about constitution amendments. You talk about security. You talk about the need for us to, improve on our security in the country. Well, to look at all this morning, we are so privileged to have Honorable, I'll start with my immediate left now, Dr. Mrs. Stella Omoniwo. She is a lecturer with the Department of Foreign Languages at the University of Benin, and a social media blogger, but she's not tweeting anymore now. She's not tweeting anymore. And also she talks about various issues as relate to politics. She's not a politician. She's not a politician, that I know. But she talks about political issues as we get along in the country. Madam, you're welcome to this program this morning on ITV.
Thank you. Good morning, viewers at home. Thank you for having me.
All right. I have the privilege this morning to have a distinguished honorable in the House, a distinguished politician, the immediate past local government chairman of Ovia Southwest local government government. Ovia Southwest local government area. I'm missing my words now. Honorable Destiny Nabulele. So you're welcome to this program this morning. It's been quite some time.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me, and let me formally apologize for the series of invitations.
Okay, all right.
So, it's not in my character.
All right, so you're welcome one more time. Now,
Thank
as
you,
we set the foundation for this discussion this morning, let's take off with the amendments public hearing on the need for us to amend our constitution. One thing stands clear, that if we are to amend our constitution, if we are really serious about it, it should be something that should be all-inclusive. Some say it should be a total departure from the document that we have today that stands to be our constitution. Now, can all these talks about the constitution amendments address the present issues that we as a nation, we as a people are going through in our country today? Dr. Mr. Omoniwo.
Okay, thank you so much. And once again, good morning, viewers at home. Talking about the amendment of the constitution, well, it has been long overdue. If you remember clearly, during the time of Obasanjo, there was an agitation to review the constitution. But most Nigerians felt that maybe there was a kind of ulterior motive of a third term. So that was quickly put aside. Nigerians kicked against it. And then later, during the Goodluck Jonathan government too, there was this agitation which did not sail through. Well, we are happy that this present leadership of the country is considering the constitutional amendment, and in fact they've kick-started it, which I think in most zones ended yesterday. Now, while we're talking about it, in as much as I appreciate that, I have a reservation. I have some reservation concerning the sincerity of this constitution amendment, because when the talk started, people asked some questions. what constitution should be reviewed? Is it the 1963 constitution or the 1999 constitution? Because, you know, people had this belief that the 1963 constitution was more people-oriented, whereas the 1999 constitution was more of the military, you know, was based on military era and military doings. I felt that the first step was, first of all, for the leaders, the Senate and the House of Rep, to think about which one should be amended. Because a lot of people, especially the older generation, feel that it's the 1963 constitution that is more practicable, and if reviewed will bring more solutions to the present problems we are going through in the country. That's why I said it depends on the sincerity of the leadership and actually the real motive. Let me tell you, the motive that they bring outside may be different from the motive that they have inside. Sometimes when we want to, we know we play politics at various levels. You know, well, sometimes when leaders want to smuggle in some things, you know, they can just ask for constitutional amendments, and then innocent people will start talking and, you know, bringing their points, while they themselves have their own agenda that they want to put in. So it all depends on the sincerity. And then talking about the constitution itself, the amendment itself, I went through some, you know, I followed some zones in the amendment review. For the Lagos zone, you know, we're talking about the inclusion of disabled Nigerians.
Okay, now let me pause you so that I'll bring Honorable Destiny Nabulile in. Now, Honorable Destiny Nabulile, now she talked about the 1963 Constitution. Because for some people, it appears there's a mix-up. When you talk about the Constitution, for some people, they say that, look, we've not really had a Constitution amendment in this country. Why some persons will readily refer to the 1999 Constitution? Well, I do know that when you talk about the derivation formula, it is a product of the 1963 Constitution. We had that amendment sometime before 1999 now, if I get my records correct, and we had that was during the time of Obasanjo, just before Obasanjo came in and all that. And of course, we had the derivation formula and all that. Now, what are the issues in the present Constitution? Is it the contents of the Constitution that are the issues, or the way these contents are being applied to us?
Yeah, Mr. Evans, let me very sincerely appreciate you and the management of ITV for this timely discourse. For me, as a doctor said, the sincerity of purpose is very critical in trying to set up an agenda. You see, for us to say whether 1963 or 1999, the operational document is purely 1999 Constitution. So there is a procedure whether 1999 or 1969. So those procedures were not exhausted. So for us, what stares us in the face is 1999 Constitution. So for me, I wasn't very keen about the amendment. You ask me why. There was a holistic, you know, galvanizing the people all over the confab by Jonathan. That is the most, you know, transparent, if you ask me, because all of us participated. Be it lame, be it blind, whatever, participated in that exercise. But as we speak, the present party in government, they did not honor the invitation to participate in that exercise. Perhaps.
Now, Destiny, if we refer back to the 2014 confab, is
yes,
that correct now?
Yes.
Now, but don't you think the issues we had then are not the issues we have now?
You see, in amendment is not done once in a lifetime. It is a continuous exercise. I tell you, today we have technology. Our constitution does not entertain our current reality, the evolutions, the innovations. That is why, for instance, the issue of the voting system using the card reader is not entertained in our constitution. Over the years, if you go to law court to say ringing, it is an academic exercise. We've not really come out with a law. So for us to say that amendment is a one thing, no. As innovations crop up, you try to see how we can entertain. That is why I listened to Falana not too long ago that this issue of banning Twitter He said that the Malami, with due respect, the Attorney General, has the local standing to prosecute because it's not there in our constitution. Those are some of the flaws. We must endeavor as we, maybe 5 years or 10 years, to see as innovations crop up, new things are on board, you see how we can incorporate so that if anybody, run foul of it, there will be enough evidence or enough law to call them for questioning.
When you say the issue of the Twitter ban is not there in the Constitution, I think wasn't it to watch it so that we don't begin to play with words. Now, for some people, really, they will say that Twitter is never mentioned in our Constitution. But for some people, again, they will tell you that, look, we are talking about a pronouncement by the federal government that bounds on all of us. So once the federal government makes a pronouncement, don't you think it's something that all of us all should abide with?
It's a mere pronouncement. Can be political. When you are talking about documents which encompasses all of us, you see, you don't just wake up and make a pronouncement when it's not there in the documents that govern the day-to-day running of a country.
What is not there now? The word Twitter, or that the government cannot make a directive, make a pronouncement?
No, the government, I'm not saying it cannot make a direct pronouncement, but in implementing the pronouncement, let's give it a try. Go to the law court. The Nigerian state will not succeed. That is the bone of contention. Which documents are you going to refer to? Is it just a mere talk? You and I know that it's not known in law. That because you made a pronouncement, it could be because you just want to target your perceived political enemy. But when the law is there, you can't tell you that I don't know. There's no ignorance in law. Also for us, or for me as a person, now I'm gradually in this other side. But I will say that it's never too late. It's never too late. We should look at the 2014 and see how we can, implement, because it was very rich and robust for us. But because we have our own reservations, when I say our own reservation, the people on the other side, and today they are here, and they are caught up in their web, and they find it difficult to get out of it. So, with due respect, they are confused as we speak. They don't know where to go now. We're at a crossroad.
Dr. Mrs. Stella Omonigo, right from 2014, when the issue of constitutional amendment comes up in this country, people always make reference to the 2014 National Confab. Well, for some other persons, they will tell you that the representatives, the participants of that confab were rather, political stooges. That confab was used to settle them because a lot of monies went for them and all that. Now, if we have that situation, can we still talk about the 2014 confab?
Okay, thank you so much. So, Harvey, if they are claiming that, does it now mean that every time we have such a thing as confab, or inviting people from the various geopolitical zones to represent in a public hearing, does it not mean that they are all sponsored? Because if you are suspecting A, eventually C will suspect you as B as well. We keep on going around in circles and circles. But quickly, let me just contribute to what Honorable said shortly before, when he was mentioning the Twitter ban. I didn't want to go there because, it's a kind of a raw saw for Nigerians right now. But I know that in the 1999 Constitution, in section 39, subsection 1, it talks about the free media expression, and that covers every form of media, whether it is a new media outlet or the old media outlet. It's there clearly written in our constitution about the freedom of media expression. And don't forget that the media is actually an avenue for people, to express themselves and for government to listen to feedback from people. Yeah. So when we are talking about that, in fact, let's not even go there because that's another topic for another. But I want to talk about this present constitution amendment in line with the 2014 confab. Now, how the people were selected for 2014 confab, we do not know. And I think that was what was actually bringing the question that maybe they were settled or they were not settled, which I doubt, because I know that we had some colleagues from the University of Benin who were invited for that
confab.
And I don't think they had anything to do with government in any way. I can at least we know them. These are people we talk to and we dine with. So having said that, there's supposed to be a level of transparency. And from what I understood from the 2014 confab was that every sector was represented. Every sector was represented. And I've tried to look at also this present constitutional review, especially at the geopolitical zones. And I was just asking myself when I was watching the videos and the presentations on TV that what were the criteria used in selecting these people. I know that at the national level, we saw labor, we saw women group, we saw market women group and everything. But don't forget that everything can be sponsored in our society today. So that is why it is very important for us to understand the purpose and the sincerity behind this constitutional amendment. Nigerians have been clamoring for so many things, and out of all the things they've made, even this constitutional amendment did not come from people at the people at all. Now it's coming from up above. Whereas there are issues on ground.
When you say, no, that may not be too correct. The issue of amendment has always come from the people.
If you remember, when I started my submission, I started with the time of Obasanjo and then went to Jonathan. People have been talking about it. I'm trying to say that even in this present administration, that was not the priority of the people, but suddenly it came, and you know, government is putting so much vigor into it. Like I said, fine by me, but my worries are how are we sure of the sincerity and then the representations? I have had some of the submissions on this constitutional review, and that was what I was going to before. I'd had some of the the submission. Now the question is, we did the one for 2014. It was not honored. How are we now sure that this one will be honored after the billions that were pumped into the 2014 confab? Do you understand? So I think that if we are doing something now, we should make it as transparent as possible and pursue it to logical conclusion.
Okay.
And then before it is taken and before it is ratified, Nigerians, the present amendment must be made known to all Nigerians. It must be put on dailies, on national dailies, and let us know whether nothing had been smuggled into it. Yes, into it. If actually it is the representation of the people.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, Desmond Nambulele. Destiny Nambulele. Now, we are trying to look at the intention of government as it relates to this amendment. From your own point of view, what do you think is the intention? Because we have security issues here and there, hardly a day that you don't hear of reports of people being killed and
Mr. Evans, you see, they just want to be seen doing something. That's the gospel truth. You see, man has said something, how are we sure that they've not smuggled something in? How holistic is this ongoing, constitutional amendment? I participated in 2014. I went to Calabar as a civil society under British Embassy. They sponsored us to come up with civil society, documents to be tendered in Abuja.
Yeah.
For this, it was just like what my grandmother would refer to, suddenly you see a cow and the baby cow.
But
that's exactly what happened.
This is not the first time that this administration is talking about constitution amendments. This is not the first time. The issue is this. Government is about asset and liability. You came good and fine. You made a document on ground. What stopped you from looking at, having a holistic look at the document? But don't you also think that the greatest problem for the Buhari's administration is that I remember in 2014, after that confab, lots of people said that the confab was a PDP affair. You see, but these same people now, these same people in the APC then, I'm sorry to come in. I think we've outgrown this primordial sentiment. That argument it's not tenable anywhere. It is infertile and pedestrian. That people didn't say it was a PDP affair. Why will you say that? Because you decide to exclude yourself. If, for instance, in my household and in my extended family, they were having a family get-together or a family project, I decide to exclude my. That doesn't make that get-together a family project. How many of them excluded themselves from the exercise? And today they are still up in piloting the affairs of this country.
and they are there, and they are at a crossroad. They don't know what to do with it. With utmost humility. And Mother talked about ratifying. And you know, if it is passed at the national, it must go through the state houses of assembly. And how many houses of assembly in this 36, including FCT, that's going to ratify that exercise? I tell you, whether it will be up to 1/3 of the states of the federation, I doubt. It was just unnecessary. Permit me. It got to be unnecessary in futility.
Okay, Dr. Mr. Monigo. Now, the revered lawyer Michael Ezekome has said that it's an effort in futility. As a matter of fact, he said that nothing is going to come out from it. Just as you are trying to say here that that is the suspicion now. And somebody also said that. The National Assembly does not have a business in trying to amend the Constitution. Now, if we have all these, statements here and there, where can we start from?
Well, we have started already by talking. And then questioning the sincerity of this exercise. And then adding to the question that, is that the priority of Nigeria right now? Because you are calling for public hearing. Are the people safe enough to sit down for a public hearing? So many people who were supposed to attend the public hearing could not go because of security challenges in the country. So many people were afraid to even speak their real intention concerning the amendment for fear of being come after by these people. So I try to see that, well, it's good for us to amend our constitution, but is this the right time? And is this the priority of the country right now? And then how is it that it is the National Assembly and the Senate who are now spearheading it without, consultations of experts, So the whole thing is very worrisome, and it, of course, calls for some questioning. Well, like I said, we cannot question we cannot talk about the intention of government because we are not in government and we are not in their heart. But the truth about it is that from the trajectory of things going on in the country, from the political campaigns, and then from what we are seeing in reality, one has every right to be afraid of the real intention behind this amendment. Let me tell you, right from time, I have been worried that I hope some things will not be smuggled into our constitution that will be very, very detrimental to this country in the nearest future.
Anyway, the process is ongoing. I think just like what Destiny Nambulile is saying that states are not carried along. Eventually, state houses of assembly may just be inclusive if the process continues. Destiny.
Yeah, Mr. Evans, I know for sure that some states participated in the exercise. But as we speak very just now, I doubt whether the exercise, like in Imo State, they were made to understand that they cannot, participate in the exercise because of the insecurity.
But there was a zone. Imo State was zoned to a particular state. I think it was somewhere in Port Harcourt, in Rivers State.
Were they able to attend?
That is another thing.
Were they represented?
You see, Mr. Evans,
has their interest been covered?
There's a saying in my very rich Benin language, Ewoma, Ebona Waya. There's nothing meaningful in an atmosphere of rancor. You see, what we have now. There was about 3 weeks ago, I visited a professor in Lagos. Then the younger brother came. I think he's into this black oil. In my very before, trying to make a contact to the north because he said the oil, he has a larger customer in the north. What he was told that his truck cannot come from the north to the east or to the south. And on his own, trying to look for alternative. He called some of the truck owners here. They told him that his truck cannot go to the north, or their truck cannot go to the north. It's as bad as that. We are at a comatose. In all facets of our existence, is a comatose as we speak right now.
No,
nothing is moving.
You can't say so.
I'm coming, sir.
But you drove here. You drove here this morning. If you're trying to, you drove here this morning.
When I got to the compound, I do a sign of the cross. Thank you, Jesus, for bringing me here safely. It's as bad as that. It's as bad as that.
No, it is not as bad as that.
At a point, I'm coming, sir.
No,
is it because we have it here relatively peaceful in a state, we must give it to the state governor? It's because we have it here relatively peaceful? I travel a lot. For the past 1 week, I've traveled to about 13 states. You can't ply the road. When I assumed office newly, I drove alone from Benin to Ekpoma, to Aunchi, alone. But today, you don't. When you're leaving the house, you say, there your wife, your mother. When your mother here, you are traveling, you say, we're with who? How many of you? You are not used to security. So it's as bad as that. For some of us that grew up in the street, we are not used to it. You know, it's more pleasurable when you drive. Like from here to Lagos, it's pleasurable when you drive. This issue of taking flight, it's for me, it's not for me. When you drive, you explore. But today it's no longer there. When you are applying, when you are using the aircraft, if it is 30 minutes or 40 minutes, you don't say, you don't talk to the next person. You don't chat because your heart is in your palm. You don't know what, because it's air, you don't know what will happen in the next minute. As you land, you say, everybody say, oh, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. It's not like that. We no longer having a pleasurable drive in this country. Now you are telling me that all is well with us? No, all is not well. We must call a spade a spade. It's never a garden fork. Let's endeavor. If things are not going right, we'll say it's not going right. No matter what else is gone, let's do it the way it is. We must seem to be wrong. As it is now, we must go back to the drawing board. That's why I said it earlier, that they never knew that today it will stare them in the face. That's why some of them refer to it, with due respect, as an NGO. Yes, because they never knew that today they will be steering the ship of this country. And they are confused. If you look at, I'm coming, sir. If you look at some of those indices, some of the factors that led to the civil war between 1966 and the 1970, it's staring us in the face.
No, we don't.
I'm trying to. I'm not saying. I say some of those factors, indices. It's staring us in the face. I don't blame them because as we speak, we don't have history in our curriculum. But some of us that happen to our students of history, we know what led to it. So we must endeavor to see how we can jettison those things that disunite us.
Well, if you talk about history in our education curriculum, I remember it was reintroduced. So as we speak now, schools they do history.
I have masters in history, so I know exactly what I'm saying. How? I have two kids in the primary school. Then you're telling me how?
Anyway, that's not our point of, madam.
Yes,
30 seconds quickly. Yeah.
I'm coming, man.
Yeah.
It's our point.
Yeah.
Cicero once said, if you refuse to know what happened before you were born, you will repeat the same mistake. It will definitely, you will repeat the same mistake.
Doctor, 30 seconds.
Yes, please, before we go into the security situation, I still want to talk about this constitutional amendment. Even while talking about it, while querying also if it is the priority for now, you know that the constitution is a big document, if you've seen our constitution before, with various sections. Now, the way they are doing it at the geopolitical zones, you are not calling section by section. You just threw it into the air as if you are dealing with laymen, as if you are dealing with market women. I've expected that when you want to amend the constitution, you take it section by section. Constitution the section on security. This is what it is. What do we want to amend? What do you people want us to add? And then you call for, you guide thoughts. You don't just bring in different things from everywhere without coordinating. People don't even know what is on ground already. Yeah. For them to know what you are amending. Let me tell you, for you to know what you are amending, you must be able to know what is on ground. What is on the ground, yeah. Do you understand? Yeah. So I expected them to take it section by section. Yeah. You read what is on in one section, and then you ask if there will be any amendment, if there will be any addition, and then what you are now telling us is that memoranda are still welcome before the National Assembly. No, that is not how to go about it. So you are just picking a point, and then people who also went for the review are just talking into the air, and that was why I wanted to discuss. Let me tell you, you don't amend constitution like that.
Anyway, because of time.
Yeah, Mr. Evans, before we proceed.
Yeah,
I guess you saw what happened in the National Assembly yesterday. There's balkanization in party lines. It's not supposed to be so. A house that is divided against itself cannot stand. And you can't get anything meaningful from a house that is divided against itself.
Anyway, we cannot say that because we are not part of that house. You are not part of the National Assembly.
You saw what happened yesterday. It's not that we're not part. They did. It was there.
No, you cannot say they are divided against themselves. You can't say
from what happened yesterday.
We only saw, you are not part of the house. So I want
if for instance, you and I just decide to exchange blow now, we go our separate, then the person will tell you that they're at peace. No, now. Please,
anyway,
Mr. Evans.
Anyway, that's all time we permit us to take. I know that Dr. Mrs. urging to say more things, but we don't have time. We have another segment. We have another segment. We have a doctor in the house because of time. We have another segment. So some of that time, we can make time for that as we get along on the program. Madam, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. And Honorable Nabule Destiny, thank you so much.
I'm just a Destiny Nabule.
Thank you so much.
Again, I appreciate you, and let me once again apologize to the management for the series of the invitation, and it was turned down. Right, it's not in my character. It was thank you very much.
All right, viewers out there, the program is still this morning on ITV. Please stay tuned.